If a woman doesn't respect you, she will never fully desire you. She may like you, she might enjoy the attention, but respect, that's the difference between temporary attraction and long term power. You don't lose a woman's respect because you're too nice. You lose it because of a self destructing attitude you quietly carry every day. Stay with me because by the end of today's video, you'll be completely empowered and redirected. Let's go. Welcome to the channel. So, in this video, I'm breaking down 5 powerful attitudes that instantly shift how women see you, talk to you, and treat you. If you want to go deeper than this video allows, my ebook, 5 Keys to Attracting Your Ideal Partner, lays it out clearly. These are the same principles that help men earn respect without chasing or performing. It's direct, practical, and designed for real results. Grab your copy now. I have shared the link in the description. Let's jump right in. Attitude number 1, you don't need to be liked. So, most men don't realize they're trying to be liked. They simply think they're being respectful, being emotionally intelligent. They think they're being mature about certain situations. But underneath all that is one quiet motivation. If she approves of me, I'm safe. And that mindset leaks out in ways you never actually notice. Needing to be liked isn't about words or anything like that. It's actually about micro decisions. You hesitate before speaking, soften opinions, laugh at things you don't find funny. You agree faster than you should. You tolerate small disrespect to avoid tension. And none of this looks dramatic. And that's why it's so dangerous. Women don't consciously clock this, they feel it. And what we feel is a man who's self adjusting instead of being self directed. Truth is, a man who needs to be liked is not leading the interaction. He's just simply reacting to it. And respect can't exist where leadership is missing. Now, let's kill a misconception. Not needing to be liked doesn't mean being disagreeable, being aloof, being emotionally unavailable. I mean, those are, if you ask me, defense mechanisms. Not needing to be liked actually means you don't abandon yourself to maintain harmony. Get it? You're willing to let there be friction, to let her disagree, to let tension exist without rushing to resolve it. That's emotional strength. And it's key because women don't respect men who need validation. We respect men who validate themselves. When you trust your own judgment, values, reactions, she feels grounded around you. And that's the flip. So, the man who doesn't need to be liked speaks calmly without rehearsing, says no without apology, disagrees without being defensive, walks away without explanation when necessary, and stays centered when misunderstood. It doesn't make him unkind, it makes him solid. It's paradoxical. The less you try to be liked, the more your approval matters. Because approval from someone who doesn't need it feels earned. Women don't fall out of respect because you're imperfect. We actually do because you don't trust yourself under pressure. And here's a final truth. Your goal should be not necessarily to be liked, but to be rooted, right? When she realizes you are comfortable being misunderstood, comfortable with being disagreed with, comfortable with standing alone if that's what's required, respect stops being conditional. And attraction finally has something solid to attach to. Attitude number 2, you move at your own pace. Men who rush are not excited, they're uncertain, and uncertainty kills respect faster than almost anything else. When you rush to text back, rush to clarify feelings, rush to define the relationship, rush to secure her commitment, what you're really communicating is, I don't trust myself if this doesn't work out. I'll show you. You meet a woman you like. She pulls back slightly, maybe slower replies, less enthusiasm, and a man who moves at her pace will panic. You'll send some long message, ask what's changed, tries to fix the vibe. A man who moves at his own pace, though, notices and does nothing. He simply doesn't want to abandon his emotional center when uncertainty shows up. And that's power. Ask yourself this. When things slow down, do you speed up or do you stay steady? Here's why this matters. Women are constantly scanning for emotional leadership. They want to know if things get unclear, will this man collapse or will he stay grounded? Now let's be clear. And moving at your own pace doesn't mean playing games or withholding affection or acting distant. What I'm saying is, don't let her emotional fluctuations dictate your behavior. And it's key. Still show interest, still initiate, but don't overcorrect. And by that, I mean let her attraction breathe. If her uncertainty becomes your urgency, she becomes the prize and you become the pursuer. Respect flips the moment a woman realizes she can't rush you, pressure you, or emotionally hijack you. When you move at your own pace, you're suddenly saying, hey, I enjoy you, but I don't abandon myself for outcomes. And that's when her curiosity turns into respect. Because now she's not just choosing you, she's qualifying herself to keep up with the man that you are. Attitude number 3, you hold standards without announcing them. Weak men don't actually have standards. They have preferences that they're willing to negotiate the moment attraction is on the line. Here's a mistake they make. They believe standards are something you explain. They believe boundaries only work better when you communicate them clearly. They believe respect comes from being understood. And it does sound reasonable, but I'll tell you why it's not always correct. Because the moment you announce a standard, you turn it into a discussion. Discussions invite testing, and women won't respect standards that need defending. They respect standards that are non negotiable by behavior. What do I mean? Let's say a woman starts doing something you don't like. A man who announces his standards sits her down and says something like, hey, I just want to be clear about what I expect. When you do this, it makes me feel blah, blah, blah. Or he'll say something like, I need consistency. Now, what you think you're doing is leadership, correct? But what she sometimes feels is, he's asking me to adjust so he can stay comfortable. You see, so that's not authority, it's bargaining. And bargaining destroys respect. Hear me. There's a core principle to remember. Standards are not rules you enforce on other people. They're filters you apply to your own investment, right? So you don't tell a woman how to behave. You decide how much access she gets based on how she behaves. That's the shift. A man with real standards doesn't confront every misalignment or misstep. He responds to it with less availability, emotional access, less effort, no punishment or attitude, no speech, just alignment. You know, if you feel the urge to explain a boundary so she gets it, you're trying to preserve connection, not protect self respect. Don't get me wrong, there's a place for clearly communicating your boundaries, and I have that. I've talked about that in previous videos. But there's also an argument to be made. Be holding standards quietly, and that requires emotional discipline because announcing standards almost feels relieving. You get to vent, you get to feel heard, you get to believe that you did the healthy thing. But quiet standards force you to tolerate discomfort. They force you to accept that someone may not rise to your expectations. They force you to walk away without closure. That's why most men don't do it because they'll rather explain than adjust. They'd rather talk than act. They'd rather negotiate than lose access. A man who talks about standards is asking for cooperation. A man who lives standards doesn't need it. Here's the paradox. When you stop announcing your standards, women become more curious about them. What are they? Because now she's reading behavior. She's listening to rules. She notices, "Ugh, this guy doesn't chase when I pull back. I'll kill another misconception. Holding standards doesn't necessarily mean being cold, rigid, or unforgiving. Okay, that's ego pretending to be strength. Real standards are calm, consistent, boring to argue with. Okay, the plan is not to punish. So you don't punish, you don't threaten, you don't warn. You simply don't give premium access to behavior that does not align with your standards. Get it? Women don't rise to standards you announce. We rise to standards you live without apology. If this feels like the kind of real talk you don't get to hear anywhere, please hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. I don't teach men how to chase women. I teach men how to become the men women respond to naturally. Now, let's keep going. Attitude number 4, you're emotionally steady under pressure. Hey, I won't beat about the bush. Women respect emotional stability. A lot of men think being emotional means being expressive, open, or passionate. And that's not necessarily the issue. The issue is who loses control of themselves when things begin to feel uncertain, right? Because here's what women are always scanning for, consciously or not. When pressure shows up, does this man stay grounded or does he unravel? And I've said that in multiple videos of mine. And the question gets answered fast. Let's talk about what pressure looks like in real life. Okay, pressure is a couple of things. Mixed signals, delayed replies, mood shifts, hot and cold behavior, sudden distance, disagreements, emotional ambiguity, and I could keep going. Now watch the difference. A reactive man will behave like this. Over texts, demands clarity, withdraws dramatically, gets passive aggressive, explodes emotionally, or collapses into reassurance mode. Guess what a steady man does? He notices what's going on, pauses, stays centered, responds, and doesn't react. The part you're missing is women don't create pressure to be cruel, right? Pressure reveals who you are when you're not in control. So if uncertainty makes you feel anxious, defensive, or needy, she'll feel that instantly. Here's a simple example. She pulls back for a few days. A reactive man assumes danger. He sends, "Hey, what's wrong?" Then another message. Then he explains how much he likes her. Then he asks for reassurance. What she feels won't be closeness. It'll start to be emotional weight. A steady man, however, will notice the pullback and stay consistent. He won't chase. Like I said, won't punish, won't dramatize. He gives space without disappearing, and that's how it should be. And this kind of balance is rare. Rarity is what creates the respect. Let's clear something up. Emotional steadiness doesn't mean suppressing emotions. It means your emotions don't drive your behavior. If you can feel uncertainty without acting from fear, you can feel disappointment without collapsing. You could feel attraction without losing. You see where I'm headed with this? That's masculine emotional intelligence, guys. Women respect men who can hold emotional space without being overwhelmed by it. Attitude 5, you value your life more than the relationship. This one's hard for men to hear because it sounds selfish. It sounds cold. Sounds like you don't care. But in reality, it's the foundation of lasting respect. You see, when a woman becomes the center of your life, you stop being the center of yourself. And you see she won't respect you if you abandon your own gravity. If losing her will collapse your sense of direction, she'll feel that weight. Let's talk scenarios. You stop going to the gym because she wants more time. You stop seeing friends because she doesn't like them. You stop pushing your purpose because, well, the relationship feels good enough, right? You think you're investing. What you're actually doing is over prioritizing. A man who values his life more than the relationship still shows up. Don't get me wrong, he still cares. He still commits. What he doesn't do is trade his mission for connection. And that's the difference. Women respect men who are anchored. Let's kill another myth. Valuing your life more does not mean neglecting her. It means your identity doesn't dissolve into the relationship. Don't chase to keep her. You don't cling to avoid loss. You don't shrink to maintain peace. You lead your life, and she chooses whether she wants to walk beside you or not. Ultimately, this is what I want you to remember. Thanks for watching. Catch you in the next video. Cheers.